are you? Wrestling review.
I have
Dominic?
a belly full of tacos.
Oh.
That's how I'm feeling.
It's the first song by Joe. First of hopefully many. Yo, I am so excited for the fade out because that's actually the best part of the song.
It's literally the best part. I can't wait. All 5 people are gonna, not even 5, all 2 people are gonna be so stoked.
Nobody's gonna care, but it's gonna be here in the test. Like you'll be able to look back on it someday. I'll be able to look back on it someday.
I'll be 50 years old and go, "Hey kids, remember that time when I talked about wrestling on the internet?" Nope, neither does anyone else. But here's a cool song that Uncle Joe wrote.
Try and remember myself. Yeah, like I said, hopefully the first of many with Joe. But this is the late Rusev Day episode.
Real late.
We tried it earlier this week on time, and we just rushed through it, and there was background noise, and it just wouldn't have been good. And I guess if you have the opportunity to fix something that's not, you already know is not good, you probably should. So that's what we did.
We want to take it
Friday.
From a D to a C minus.
Yeah, our normal C level show. We accept nothing better or worse. And we want our C. And so that's what we're out to get. Friday night we're going to do this show and count it as the early show. And then we're still going to do Saturday on time and talk NXT and Ring of Honor and stuff like that. Then I think in general we'll resort to that from now on, Ring of Honor on the Saturday show, because
I like that.
It makes the earlier show way too long compared to the second show if we try and talk about all of it. I just tried to treat it equal to Raw and SmackDown because it's on Mondays, and we're talking about 205 Live on the show.
Yeah.
But
it kind of fits better though.
Yeah, in general, it's just better to give it its own
time. Because
I mean,
honestly, most of that roster ends up on NXT anyway. Am I right?
Sometimes.
Only very, very few amount of times am I correct.
Well, Raw was fine. It wasn't bad. It wasn't good.
I don't have emotions about it.
I mean, actually, it was pretty good for Christmas Raw. Because normally Christmas Raw
isn't it normally like recorded and...
It just normally seems like less of a real show.
Yeah.
I don't know. I normally stop watching around Christmas.
I guess technically it is a step up.
Yeah, it was fine as far as like a produced episode of like wrestling television goes, but it wasn't good.
It definitely had many a hole, if you will.
But John Cena being there was cool, especially on Christmas.
Actually, I will openly and gracefully admit this. I was excited. I was like, all right, Cena Man's back.
Yeah,
for a little bit.
And like I was saying, on Christmas, I don't know. That's a cool thing for him to come back. He doesn't have to do that, and he did it. So, and to get right into it, he went at it with Elias, which I am glad we're having a second go at the show, because earlier this week when we tried it, I mean, I already liked Elias, but I hadn't heard him on the Stone Cold podcast, which I just listened to 2 days ago or a day ago or so. Yeah, and it's really cool. I won't even get into it because it's another podcast and you can go listen to it, but it's awesome. And his story's awesome, and it made me like what happened with Cena and Roman Reigns a couple weeks ago, which they talked about on their podcast. It made me like it even more than I already did. So with that said, John Cena comes out and Elias interrupts him, right? Yeah, right. Elias interrupts Cena, but only shortly into his little promo. That's the only reason.
Yeah, it's not very long. He gets to it pretty quickly.
Because they wound up doing kind of a cheesy, but it was good, especially because John Cena can do anything that's cheesy. A good segment where they kind of were singing together and doing Elias' song. What song did they like? Were they like parodying? I can't remember. Or was he just making shit up?
I think he was just kind of he was making shit up, and then it was pretty quick because it kind of just
no. They were doing a Christmas song. It was
it?
Yeah, because Cena got to the chorus, and that was when my favorite part happened.
Yeah, yep.
Elias was like, "You feeling good, John?" And then he just cracked him. And that was actually right after Elias went back at the Chicago crowd for the CM Punk chants.
Really
so
good. Actually, it was.
Yeah, he looked strong. He definitely just looked strong in that segment. Then he had the match with Cena, and it actually went pretty long, and it was a good match. I'd say it was better than his match with Roman Reigns, which you liked and I wasn't crazy about.
Yeah, I could say that, but honestly, I think that's just goes to show how much better Cena is than Reigns.
Yeah, well, that and like I said, check out that podcast with him on Stone Cold.
I'll definitely do it.
Because Elias is better than and this match in general, regardless of the podcast, this match showed Elias is better than I thought he was. And again, I liked him. I already thought he was good.
Oh yeah, and definitely, they shown it was one of those, like, especially to open. I was like, all right, I expected the show to keep that pace.
And for going that long now, basically with the company's two most recent top guys, and really just two top guys in general, and John Cena and Roman Reigns, all in 1 month's time, shows that they must be pretty high on him in the moment.
I've always heard that Vince is very big. Well, first into his character, I know he loves that character. For one.
Yeah, well, apparently he's not allowed to say the words like the Drifter anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah, or his last name. He's simply just Elias. That's like a rule with him being on Raw and doing bigger things. I don't know.
Whatever. Either way, I mean, the guy looks good. He has the look. He has a Vince look, and he has the character. So I wouldn't be surprised if they don't eventually go in some way, shape, or form with him.
He's definitely in good enough shape. He's in great shape.
It even showed more so.
Excuse me. Well, no move specific match notes on this match really, outside of the fact that I really liked when Elias got out of that first 5-knuckle shuffle. I just thought that was again just like the booking of just like the booking of these two matches in general. I thought it just made him look strong. I thought though he did get a similar. I guess I can't call it a squash because, like I just said, he looked strong. But it reminded me of the thing, and we were there for it. It was 2012 or 13, where Sandow got beat by Cena. And probably a little different in that people actually wanted to see Sandow beat Cena. This was more mixed because Elias is a heel and he's actually good at it. But, I don't know. It just kind of made me think of that, and I guess kind of in a good way, which is reflective in itself because...
Yeah, that was a good match.
I used to hate when Cena did that, and I liked it on this Raw because obviously that's where I'm capping off my point with this match. Obviously, John Cena did not come back on Christmas to lose.
Never would the man lose on such a holiday.
Backstage with Kurt and Jason Jordan and Seth, and I really liked the way the camera and the timing of introducing each character or wrestler, performer, whatever his name. I just like the given time to cheer and boo, and the way it just I don't even want to call it old school, but it just reminded me of the way the wrestling shows used to be produced.
Yeah, very Attitude Era-esque, where they would introduce someone individually. It gives you a second to react to them, and then the next person would come in, and you'd be even more surprised because you're like, oh, something's about to happen.
Right. Most interesting part of that, because the dialogue itself, while again... well-produced segment, and again, that's pretty much speaks volumes about what the whole show was. Well-produced, but nothing super interesting as far as the content itself. The most interesting part about that segment was apparently Big Dog was just standing there...
just watching, just
the
looking
whole time,
on.
Because the camera just shifted, and there he was with his title.
Someone's got to watch over the show.
I guess, but they're talking about Dean. They're even arguing about Dean. Yeah. And Reigns is like, I don't even get involved in that conversation.
I mean, it's on topic and off topic. I kind of like how they're all going different tracks with what happened with Dean.
I don't know if they're doing that.
It just seems like everyone has a different,
No, they're saying Joe did it.
Well, yeah, but at first I don't know, it felt weird.
Because something different actually happened.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
The angle is that Joe hurt him. I don't think they're trying to. I guess I have to pay attention on the upcoming Raw and maybe even rewatch the most recent one. But I'm fairly certain they're not trying.
Yeah,
to
they're all going with Joe did it.
Yeah, because that's the whole reason Reigns later in the night Reigns
yeah.
sells his arm and all that. So, anyways, the Big Dog is at the end of the segment. Kurt lets him know that him and Joe are gonna, like we just said, gonna have a match that night, and it's for the Intercontinental title. And it's the second title match announced for the night because the tag titles are on the line as well between the weird pairing of Jason Jordan and Seth because Dean is hurt, and obviously against the Bar, the champions. So then we cut backstage to the Miztourage, and there's dumb, funny stuff, but dumb, funny enough to me. I liked it, and I knew this was leading to them getting killed by somebody later on in the night.
And it's with them. They're funny. They have funny characters. They're very capable of pulling it off.
And I like seeing those guys on TV. And it was I don't know, it was a nice little. It's a Christmas episode.
You're keeping a character going that isn't there, that most people, I don't want to say don't like, but more so I've had way more respect for and really do enjoy now in The Miz.
Yeah.
I love The Miz now. Like, The Miz can come back and do things, and I'm like, all right, The Miz is back. Whereas before, maybe a year or two ago, I'd have been like, please don't.
I like The Miz, and I certainly love him in comparison to how I used to feel about him, but I still feel he's missing that. He's like 3/4 of the way there for me as far as being a fan of his. He's still not having great matches. You're not excited to. Bottom line is, you don't get bummed about seeing Bobby Roode wrestling Baron Corbin, but when The Miz and Baron Corbin were announced for Survivor Series, literally everyone was like, "Why?"
Yeah.
So that's reflective of both guys. And again, when Baron Corbin can go on to be booked against other guys, and it's not as boring, it's pretty reflective of.
Once they give him the Miz it really stepped the game up.
Dude, tons of his character's great. And here's the thing, his promo ability is good, but he's not ever saying anything or challenging anyone real.
Yeah.
And basically, since the Daniel Bryan,
he's on repeat.
He just kind of does. Yeah, he does a repeat, and I'm sick of it. But we're not talking about the Miz right now. Although I agree with your point, it is an awesome way to keep this it keeps his momentum up because he had a hell of a lot going and has all year. So good for him. It was involving the girls that were going to be in the next match, Sasha, Mickey, and Bayley, which was cool. Made Bayley look cool for once. That was weird. How about that?
Yeah. You're used to that dorkiness.
Yeah, and she was like the one to blow off the Mr. Raj guys. Like, oh, guys, we got to go. So I just thought that was cool. Maybe I'm even looking too far into it. Maybe she wasn't meant to look cool, but I just thought for once she didn't look like the dork. So they wrestled Absolution, though, and... They definitely. Well, no, actually, they looked very good.
Actually, that's everyone looked good. I was impressed.
Bayley in specific looked very good, but anyways, the point that I was initially trying to make is they definitely lost. And
absolutely.
Sonya had this awesome, huge clothesline to Sasha Banks on the outside.
It looked like it actually hurt.
It definitely actually hurt.
Yeah. I'm impressed with
but
it.
it was,
I'm stoked on it.
Well, I was going to say that's definitely super on. And, I don't really even care for Sasha Banks as far as an overall character. But that's like way credit to Sasha. You can see it in the slow motion replay. She looks like Eddie Guerrero, like flopping around.
Yeah, she got crushed. It just, honestly, it shines for both, like one selling and one giving. It looked good, and throughout the whole match, everyone I think had their own spot to really.
Yeah, I thought Mandy Rose looked decent at best. I felt like she needed to catch up with everybody. Her psychology, as far as
they haven't let her develop I don't even mean to use.
Yeah, well, I don't. When I say psychology, I don't mean to use the word too literal in the sense of wrestling or anything, because I'm not saying I understand that. I'm just saying, as far as watching her and her face, she does a move, and then it looks like she's like, all right, and then I'm supposed to pin you. She doesn't look like she's in it.
She needs a little more dramatics, a little more emotion.
Normally, I would say I think Sonya's the least along, but with that huge clothesline and just like you said, the rest of the outing of the match in general, I thought a lot of her takedown stuff was clean, and it makes sense with the character coming in. Yep. So yeah, I just thought Mandy was a weak link in the match. Not that there has to be, or I think I'm looking for one, but I thought she was.
Because
just because it's simple doesn't mean it's not. You know what I mean?
It's no, I'm not trying to discredit it or anything, but they gave her, they developed it a little bit. They gave her little the coat, the entrance coat. You know what I mean? It gives it more to it, so she has more of a thing. She's starting to do the running around strike thing. It just.
No. Sonya's fine. I was saying Mandy.
Yeah, no, that's what I was saying, though. Like, whereas Mandy doesn't have that yet.
Gotcha. Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? She hasn't really gotten those tools to, make you.
But I don't know that that's my problem. You're right, and I agree with that, but I don't think that's my problem. My problem is they wish she was better at wrestling. So maybe
I just feel like it came together because I didn't notice Sonya too terribly much until she started getting those things, and she started acting on her character more.
Well, and you haven't watched NXT up until more recently.
Yeah, that's true.
Sonya has been on television to be understood to not be so great, but definitely getting a second chance at it, despite her first couple weeks where, again, she didn't look so great in Absolution. She's looking good now. That's the whole point I'm trying to make, and I agree with you. So, anyways, a good match overall. I think Paige is going to help develop both those girls more. I like the near fall with Bayley where she did the belly to Bayley, or Bayley to belly, sorry, and Absolution pulled Paige out of the ring, and I just love Paige's finisher. I think it's an awesome move. So yeah, a good match overall. Nice to see Absolution getting booked to, consistently strong, but I just want to see more exciting and different writing for the women overall. SmackDown and Raw. I just think that I don't think they have to be so in the box with it, and especially I don't think they have to do whatever the show the night before did. I don't think
it's been a little
that's really
too
going to start to bite them in the
parallel.
ass.
Like it's just kind of the same thing on a different show, and like
but
there's
basically,
little differences, but
basically
not
it's
enough.
the same thing with way less interest.
Yeah. Because
You know what I
you
mean?
watch it the night before with, I don't want to say bigger stars, but you know what I mean. Like Raw does get the edge with having Paige.
Well, I know, but you're not going to make Ruby Riott any more of an edge. I mean, but also there's Charlotte on SmackDown, but
Well, you know, I just
direct
mean
comparison,
the direct, with the 3-team thing they're running with.
I guess I'm just trying to make the point. You get away with the copycat thing in terms of booking at first because it's like, okay, well, you want to make Ruby Riott and them look strong. But then when it clearly becomes, okay, well, one has to stay strong because it's Paige, and it should, no problems there.
Yeah.
But just one has to be because of that, and then the other one just whatever at this point. At least that's what it's seeming like. Other than maybe Ruby Riott individually. I just think that that's lazy writing. And my actual point is the Rumble, in my opinion, is very clearly going to be focused focused and based around either Asuka or debuting Ronda Rousey. So for that reason alone, just like, they have, if that's the equivalent to Brock or Goldberg, they have way more stuff going on when Brock and Goldberg's going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They should have way more stuff going on for the other women that are there. The new ones and the ones
Well,
that
and
have
it
been
doesn't seem there's much story outside of the two teams either. Everything's very derivative
That's
around them.
that's exactly what I'm saying. And then again, within that, it's lazy in itself. So whatever. It's just I just want to see them get given better stuff and more. We go to a short promo backstage with Joe having no remorse for what he did to Ambrose. He gets to that quickly. I like that. Side note: it's definitely actually super shitty that Dean Ambrose is going to miss a lot of this year.
Yeah, a lot. A good
But
chunk.
hopefully it's going to only lead to, and obviously it's only going to lead to an awesome return, but hopefully it's only going to lead to an actually very awesome return where they can kind of undo all the lost momentum and maybe return some of his wow factor. I think starting with less comedy and goofy comedy from him, in my opinion, is the best.
If they do branch him off from, the Shield, I think it would actually be easier to explain that way.
I don't know what they're going to do in relation to that.
Yeah.
I just don't want to see goofy Dean Ambrose.
Yeah.
I want to see him even if he doesn't want, have to be super super rough. I just want to see him be more aggressive because I feel like he looks better. And my favorite WWE match I think he's had, other than all his stuff with Seth in that first year that they split, was probably against Owens at the Rumble.
Yeah, it was like a
Falls Count Anywhere, a street fight or something.
Yeah, because that was the one where they went over the turnbuckle. Over the top of the table.
Yeah, the table.
Yeah, I should know that because
really
I was there.
It's awesome.
Should have known.
Yeah, I can't remember the stipulation. I'll have to watch that sometime.
I just remember.
So, anyways, hopefully he'll come back strong. The segment though with Joe was actually good. Nice short promo. Then we get a lot of Raw recap videos. This is after we've already gotten a recap video of Dean being attacked by Joe backstage, which obviously was called for with the segment
one of the same,
but it, an immediate recap video with Kane and Brock and Braun, and the idea that we would need to be reminded of such a monumental thing in the first place only a week later, it's just like, okay, this feels like filler. And it wound up leading to Kane against Heath Slater, and I didn't take any notes specific to the match. I took all the notes I took were either my ideas as the entrances were happening or literally what happened afterwards, because I did leave to get a can of dog food.
Yeah, I didn't have much feeling toward it, just because every time Kane comes out, the fake fire noise and non-pyro just really, I don't know, it sucks. It sucks for him, just because it really...
no pyro Kane definitely hurts Kane, but I still care for Kane.
I do.
Just knew what this
I
was,
enjoy, but yeah, obviously.
To be clear, there's a deli right downstairs, so I just needed my moment to feed the dog and take notes still. So I came back up, or rather before I went down, like I said, during the entrances, had the thought I would have rather watched Rhino versus Kane. That would have kept me upstairs, just being honest.
And you could have actually had a real match out of it.
But, I mean, whatever.
Not that you can't have a match out of Slater and Kane, but Rhino
Kane
that
was
more
the point.
realistic
Kane
of a
was
match.
supposed to kill him. So, anyways, I dug the corny ringside story with Rhino trying to motivate Heath Slater. I thought that was cool. Match was what it was. Left to get the food. Saw they let Kane squash Rhino 2. Oh, that's right. I left because Bray came on TV. So actually, I caught this and was playing. I got ready to leave as this was happening, and then left for Bray. And it wouldn't have mattered if I stayed or left for Bray because who knows what the hell he was saying. But it wound up. God, I made it back upstairs in time to see that Matt Hardy attacked him in the ring.
Yeah.
And then just grabbed the mic and was laughing for a long time. And I thought that was really, really good.
I love it so much. It's probably one of my honestly my favorite thing going on right now. I think WWE and Matt Hardy in specific is doing a great job with it. Oh yeah, and a lot of people, they have their little issues with it, I guess. But I think since now that it had his first actual physical confrontation, that it's gonna, people are gonna start to
it's just gonna keep getting better.
Too.
They're finally doing a good job telling a long story, which obviously we know Triple H likes and wants to do.
And if you paid attention to it, it's actually pretty good. They're using both people's backstories really well,
Bray still needs to get interesting, but
yeah,
I know what you mean, and I agree. It's being booked well, and Matt Hardy's awesome. So
yeah, he just
more
can't
of it is
be bad.
No problem with me. Again, I wrote at this point, but I've just been mentioning it all throughout. I love the way that the show is flowing. Regardless of the complaint about the double recap, I just love the way, it feels like they actually thought about the order of the show, and I don't know, maybe people watching the whole thing. So I thought that was funny because it normally doesn't come off like that, and despite the content not being so great, because this obviously was a Christmas show and just Brock's the champion and he's not on the show week to week or whatever, I still thought it was flowing well as a show. So
yeah, had you not so much filler, it would have felt a whole lot better.
But we cut to Roman Reigns backstage with the worst promo in the world. He says the fact is, and the bottom line is, and he tells us that the fact is that there's a line, it's at the bottom, and he knows the factual information about it, and he just keeps fucking telling us that kind of shit
over and over.
And whether I'm being overly critical, analytical, or just looking into it, whatever, too much, it just, to me, it came off sounding like he couldn't remember a line, especially in WWE where we know this stuff is like pre-screened or at least pre-gestured, however you want to put it. It felt like he really couldn't remember what he was supposed to say.
I feel like he always sounds that way.
Yeah, he's a bad
always
promo.
Sounds lost.
I've been on his side as of late, as far as not hating him as much as I normally do.
Oh, absolutely.
And he is. I have just come to terms with the fact that he's a very good wrestler. Regardless of gotten better, he's a good wrestler.
Yeah.
But he is just a bad promo. But this leads to the Intercontinental title match we heard that there was going to be earlier in the night. And when I watched live on Christmas, because I did, and then I watched the Hulu version for my notes, because on Christmas I was just enjoying. But when I watched live on Christmas, I weirdly walked out for this match just to kind of hang out with my dog in my room for like 10 minutes. And rewatching it on the Hulu version, I wasn't exactly mad I missed it. And that's not to say anything bad about the match. It just is clearly a build match. And I said when I took these notes that it would probably lead to no DQ at the pay-per-view, but I wound up seeing on Twitter it's been announced that they're having another Intercontinental title match on Raw this week, and it's one of those, if Roman Reigns is disqualified, he loses the title as well. So let's all hope that shit happens, but probably isn't, and maybe it'll still lead to no DQ at the pay-per-view. But decent match overall, good match even overall, but I don't, whatever. The finish was terrible. I'd really like to see Joe. Just the lacklusterness of it was like, oh, that sucks. But I'd really like to see Joe be Intercontinental Champion. Completely, aside from the fact that I don't want Roman to have it, I just think it suits him. He's a worker's champion, and that's
just
what
like
it
suited Miz for when it was supposed to be. That was a little too long.
But I disagree with you there.
Really,
Miz made it like cool to be Intercontinental Champion in the more recent years, but the belt has never suited him. It suits guys like Dolph Ziggler and like Daniel Bryan, and in this case, I just think it would suit Joe because he's been everywhere and he could make it feel more important.
I just feels like it's like that stepping stone for certain people.
Yeah, exactly.
It definitely could be for him. Yeah.
I'm sorry, not he. Booker T, one of the worst calls of all time, saying that southpaw right hand jab. Yeah. That's saying quite a bit for Booker T. One of the worst calls because a lot of his calls are bad.
Yeah, just about 95% of his entire commentary is just kind of
I would have rather Reigns not get completely caught in the clutch than him get to the rope, despite the fact that Joe's little leg lock over the shoulder maneuver was very cool. I don't know. I don't see why Roman Reigns has to get out and kick out of it.
I felt like it deflated the move a little.
Yeah, because it's taken everybody out so far.
Yeah,
so.
like no one has, and I guess if there's anyone that it doesn't affect, it's the big dog man.
Not buying Reigns' arm being hurt. I'm not saying that in a mean, like not in a mean way, rather not in a bad way or a critical way. I'm just saying, obviously, it's not a cop out thing like Ambrose where he was hurt before and they were trying to get him off TV. And again, not cop out in a bad way. Just you get what I'm saying. With that said, I still like the sell.
It was one of the first times that I noticed that both of them sold, very well.
That's what I was getting at, is about about the arm standing out to me in the first place. Is I was like, oh, clearly that's a thing. And by the end of the segment, it's clear that Joe's shoulder is a thing too. So I'm sure both will come into play next week in that match and whatever's going on there. Maybe that's how I'll end up beating Joe or whatever. But one thing in specific I noted about this post-match attack was Roman was very slow. I understand Joe is big and Roman is supposed to be seen as someone that's big, but he ran Joe into each of the turnbuckles very slowly, and luckily Joe is big enough that it still looked like it hurt. He's broad enough, his shoulder, and again, hitting the shoulder specific, that became obvious after the second one. Then he hit Joe with the steps, and that kind of looked like it hurt. But the whole thing I'm getting at is he grabbed a chair, and Joe managed to get out of the way of him swinging this chair way harder than any of the other objects or attacks that he had just done. So I don't know. I like things being carefully thought out in a way that maybe either do it all slow or do it all faster. I don't know. Find a middle ground. But it doesn't really matter. Just something I wrote down.
Well, when you're watching that much and that consistently, the inconsistency is going to stand out way more. To you, at least.
No, but I mean, regardless of me specific, I just think that, like, it's
just all around.
Like the people, specifically the people that are there can see that he's, like, hitting him with this thing and that thing at a certain speed. And then when he swings the chair, it's like, holy shit, dude, he swung that chair so hard. It would have been awesome if he hit him.
Oh, absolutely.
But at the same time, obviously, for Joe's sake, thank God he didn't. From that finish, though, with the whole there's two title matches tonight, and that one ending like that, and kind of from the start of the night when they got paired up, because, you know, when they have to think on their feet, which, again, I'm not being critical of. I like the Jordan Rollins mix-up thing, depending on what it's all going to lead to. I don't hate it right now, is more of what I mean to say. But point being, from the end of that match, specific finish, and kind of from the start of the night, I had a feeling that those guys were winning the tag titles. Again, no problem with the impromptu thinking. That's, you got to do what you got to do, make it interesting. And
if anything, it fits story-wise without it jumping out too much. It goes, oh, okay, this makes sense.
Well, and we're going to get, obviously, to the end of this episode, to the NXT preview, but with all the title matches happening lately, there's another Intercontinental title match scheduled next week. Like I just said, there was one on NXT this week. And, with this one, and it leading to a title change, I'm all for it. Obviously, you don't want to overdo it, but I'm all for it because I think it's more interesting than, as I've mentioned before, than the long reigns that we've kind of grown accustomed to.
Especially the past little couple years, it's been extremely long, boring title reigns for the most part.
It'll maybe even make people becoming champion that you don't particularly care for, whether it be Roman Reigns in our cases or
it'll make it more exciting.
Other people maybe that we like and other people don't. You won't be as you won't find it as dreadful because you won't know they're gonna hold it for a while.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what makes some of them so bad is like, man, I have to watch this guy be the champion for the next year.
So we go to another promo thing. That's why I was mentioning those guys with Rollins and Jordan. Basically saying that Jordan says he's going to be better than Dean, kind of keeping him heel in this situation despite being paired with Seth. Seth defends Dean and it's supposed to add to the tension of will they or won't they get along type thing. Mr. Raj comes out to die at the hands of Braun, and they did.
Oh, they did die. They died.
Which is fine.
Very well.
Finn, earlier in the night, wrestled, or sometime around that point of the night, wrestles Curtis Hawkins. Kurt Hawkins, sorry. I just did what fucking... I think Michael Cole calls him that. Curtis Hawkins. Jesus Christ.
The good old Curtis.
But it was Kurt Hawkins' 148th loss. I saw on Twitter today he's at 150 now. So how about that?
Just keep that bad boy going.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. It's going to mean something.
Eventually, and my man's getting paid pretty well to
Hey, I mean,
to
you're
do this
wrestling Finn
thing.
Balor on television. That's pretty
Seriously. I mean, you tell me,
And
hey, go out there,
Finn-
buddy. I'm going.
Finn looked not only very cool in all red on Christmas, but especially, again, kind of given the advantage at this point to doing a later show this week. Seen him on social media all week, all white at Madison Square Garden, and then all blue with wherever they just were.
Yeah,
which is just, man,
I don't remember
I'm
exactly
so
what it
into
was.
that.
I love that most of the guys that I've noticed, and it's most of the guys that come over from New Japan, but they're doing the gear change, the color change. It's mostly,
You need
them.
to.
I love it.
I feel like it's a big
it's
part,
perfect.
and with how much they get paid, especially at WWE, I feel like you just should be doing
Yeah,
more than they
it
are.
makes it
So-
more interesting.
I like that, and
it's surprising. Like, you're like, oh man, especially with someone like, like Finn or AJ now, especially AJ now. I'm questioning it, like, oh, what's he got this week, kind of thing. I think that's cooler than knowing, the match card, and so I'm like, oh, what's my man wearing this week?
yeah, no, definitely, especially with AJ, it can be cool lately.
Yeah.
Not surprised in the Hulu edit, Hideo Itami breaking Brian Kendrick's face, literally, with his GTS is not in there, but I saw it live, and they showed it slow motion replay over and over again, and that Nelly song actually kept playing during the replay. It was like, all in my hair, I think about it over and over.
The one with
again.
Tim McGraw?
Yeah, the one with Tim
Oh,
McGraw.
that's a great song. That's a great song.
Yeah. It's actually the one by Mim Tigra.
Mim.
And because this is royalty free. We're going with Joe.
Yeah, we're good. Yeah, the Joe version of that song.
Maybe that'll
will
be a future
whole lot
intro song.
better.
But yeah,
but he actually broke this man's face wide open.
And they actually showed it. That's the only reason I focused on that joke.
It's
for a
actually
second.
unfortunate
They
because he
showed
probably
it over and over again.
It's
No,
gonna
he
have
did.
a Horace Grant situation.
They reported on okay.
You know what I'm talking about.
WWE.com. He broke his nose and his orbital bone. Pretty crazy, but clearly just an accident because we'll get to it later. But on 205 the next night, he beat Jack Gallagher, Hideo Itami being he, and I feel like if he was in any kind of disciplinary situation, I just wouldn't have went that way. So
yeah,
that's something just to make a note of. Obviously, hope Brian Kendrick comes back healthy. WWE, he's fucking fantastic. Love him. And
just makes Hideo look even more fucking
it
badass.
does make Hideo look pretty goddamn cool, especially with the move in Chicago. That people, I don't know, just very cool.
Yeah.
So Braun kills a Mizraj, and then there's some flashback footage because of the Raw 25 coming up of 123 Kid beating Razor. Alexa's in the middle of the ring. She's become fantastic as far as the promo goes. Only part of this promo I hated was her saying, like a Jedi from Star Wars. You don't ever need to specify where a Jedi's from. And I'm not even meaning to sound like I love Star Wars. It's just like, it's just everybody knows that. You know what I mean?
And I think it made it worse because she's normally not that like.
And the rest of the promo wasn't like that.
Yeah, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but she doesn't generally use like pop culture stuff like that. You know, and she's not generally that like trendy, I guess you could say.
She said something else before that was kind of pop culture-esque, but it was good.
Yeah.
And that one would have, if she said just the Jedi thing, it would have been good. Everyone knows the new Star Wars movie's out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Jesus.
It's a thing.
It just takes away from the suaveness of it when you're like, a Jedi, and guess what, guys? I'm talking about a Jedi from Star Wars. And if you haven't seen Star Wars, I'm talking about that film that's out. It's a current event, okay? That's what I'm talking about. But anyways, the rest of her promo was really good. She made a point to say she started the year as SmackDown Women's Champ, as ending the year as Raw Women's Champ. I think that's awesome.
Yeah,
and,
she's someone I'm openly okay with letting them run with for as long as they want.
She's a good heel, and she would go on to be interrupted by Asuka, who's awesome, and her little mask intro, both on her face and then specifically in the video.
I like that they always let her do it too. Always.
It's awesome. It's just so awesome. She wound up coming out speaking her best English so far. I don't know if that's a thing they're focusing on or if she just, whatever. She did great. She sounded great. She said no one is ready for Asuka, that she's going to be in the Royal Rumble. It's about seals the deal in my mind that she's going to run through most of the people in the match, and that's good because Alexa should have the title for as long as she's had and up till Mania, and then lose to Asuka. I think if that's the way they go, that is. I think there's nothing wrong with that. Then Asuka kicked her head off of her shoulders, and Alexa looked very scared building up to this, which I liked. I think that's good booking.
She does that well, like especially when Absolution first came in and the whole little exchange between them, like you could tell.
She doesn't look weak though. And that's a specific of doing it.
She's good at what she does. So
and
same
I love
with Asuka.
Asuka's dancing around after. I just think it's unique, and it makes her stand out. So, getting to the end of Raw, it's Jason Jordan, Seth Rollins versus The Bar. Obviously, it's a good match with, everyone that's involved. I wish everyone that was involved wore less red, especially on a red show. It just was a lot of red, and I just have a thing in general where, like you were just saying, the Japan guys or the guys who've come from the Indies maybe change their gear a bit more. And I don't even know if that's entirely true, even though I agree with the references you're making, like AJ and Finn.
Yeah, I don't mean specifically. Only
I know. I'm just saying, whoever it is that does it more than not, and even those people
Seth
should
did
do
it a
it
lot, too.
even more. He did it. He did it more than other people.
Big time.
That's the whole thing I'm trying to say is they need to do it not only more, but they need to, when you're, like, week to week, the Bar shouldn't have to change their tag team. So, like, if you're wrestling the Bar and Seth Rollins is already wearing black, why isn't Jason Jordan just wearing black or at least white?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just something to think about. Anyways, Seth did a good job of keeping the crowd as into it as they could be because they were definitely tired at this point. This 3-hour Raw has got to change. Hopefully it will at some point this year.
Too long.
Or the new year, rather. Didn't care for the banter between Graves and Booker in this match. It felt like it took away from the match more than it already normally does, just way too much. Graves even went on to say at one point, they were arguing about what a tag team partner should and shouldn't do when he's the non-legal man. And Graves Booker was saying that someone should have gotten in the ring. Jordan should have gotten in the ring to get Seth out of a pin, even though he kicked out of it. And Cole and Graves are doing what they do every week when Booker says something that's obviously stupid, but they shouldn't do this as professionals, in my opinion. Other than maybe when it adds to the heat in Graves' position, but still, even then, they call Booker out on the actual mistake, and it's like, if we wanted the fans critique, you know what I mean? Like, we're already watching together and turning each other and going, Booker sounds like an idiot. So anyways, that's a strike one. But the big thing that it led to and that I'm trying to get at is Graves goes on to say, you're only allowed one pinfall breakup per match without a disqualification as the non-legal man. Don't get me wrong, man. He's wrestled and been around. I'm sure that's been a rule elsewhere. Might even be a rule in WWE. But I'm telling you,
never seen.
They have never said that. I've never seen that.
Never seen that upheld.
Carried out. Yeah, never.
That's upheld just as much as the tag rope is upheld.
It's just more than anything, the actual criticism here is what is this as commentary?
Yeah.
You're just now at least as far as an intensive listener and
if
watcher
anything,
goes,
you're just
all I can think about is this fucking rule.
Yeah. You're just taking notice of the fact that most of the time you're watching these guys not know what's going on.
They need to stop taking away from the match. That's the biggest problem with what they do and what they're doing. I don't think Booker T should be fired. I just think someone else should have his job.
Absolutely.
And he just shouldn't be doing it anymore.
Well, it was just like that. The end of I love the King, but there was an end of that reign where it's like, all right, buddy, we need to move on. Same thing with Michael Cole. Michael Cole needs to stop messing up so much.
Michael Cole has mentally clocked out. Hearing him say 1, 2, and he kicks out. It's like, yeah, dude, I bet he does kick out. Like you motherfucker. You can tell when it's about to end with him. So, but that's not. We can talk about that and focus on that another day. Maybe this week.
We'll make a whole show where we just hate on the commentary and just tell them to go get new jobs.
I like the idea of the struggle of the story of the struggle of Jordan's effort or Jordan's efforts helping or hurting the team. And the winning or losing in the match, I like that. I think he needs to go a little bit more direct with being whiny and a heel. And maybe it's just the booking of this match, and that's obviously understandable because the bar is, or are rather, the heel in this match. But I just think Jordan is better as a heel. We saw he doesn't work as a face on his own with this terrible gimmick and kind of no gimmick. So the in-ring stuff was great on everybody was awesome. There was a couple weird sells. I don't know what was supposed to happen when Cesaro caught Rollins off the springboard. I don't know if he was supposed to fall and break up the pin, toss him back in a fallaway slam or whatever, but it wound up being okay because it led to Seth doing an awesome super kick to Sheamus, or I'm sorry, Cesaro. Sheamus steps awesomely into the cloverleaf every time he does it, but I just liked it in this match.
Sharpshooter cloverleaf thing, I like that they do that. It's just a nice little
trade-off
for the team, you know what I mean? Yeah,
it's definitely dope. Cesaro gets caught with Jordan's finish after he's coming back into the ring because Sheamus is thrown in the steps, and this is the weird sell I was talking about earlier. Cesaro hits Seth with a running European clothesline. Just kind of weird. I liked it, though, for the record. I actually really liked it. It was very wrestling, but it just, for that same reason, didn't make, Seth just kind of jumped up in the air and bobbled on the barricade and then fell.
Yeah, it was
but anyways,
cool,
new tag champions to close the show, and that's always interesting.
I honestly think it's cool. I don't have much of a problem with it. I don't think it's a bad idea.
Jordan's music is just equally as bad as the gimmick of him being Kurt Angle's son, though, for the record. It works now that he's a heel, but heel or face or not or whatever, the song is terrible. I gave the show a 6 out of 10, and I think I was being pretty courteous there. Just the production was enough to keep me on the plus above the neutral line because, like I said, it flowed better than most good Raws, but just the content was bad.
Just a little too much,
or just not interesting enough.
Squashy filler nonsense and just too long. That's my only real actual complaint. It's just so unbearably long now. And I'm saying this as someone who just loves watching it. And it's like 3 hours is just too much. We gotta cut that down.
I don't know if you guys have heard that before, Vince McMahon and WWE, because I know you're listening, but please. Short and Raw, because we personally, I think it's just us. I don't think anybody else has a problem with it. But.
That's the only guy listening is Vince. He's on the inside of the.
Maybe all those people at the arena who didn't care about the last hour of Raw, maybe they would like the Raw to be short.
I guess I say going is probably that's the only plus of the 3 hours. Like if you go to a Raw, you're getting what you paid for.
Yeah, but like I just said, even then you're fucking tired.
Yeah, that's true. Trying to go to bed.
But going into next week and to move the fuck on from Raw, Roman Reigns is giving Samoa Joe another Intercontinental title shot. The disqualification rule, where if he's disqualified, he loses the title, and an appearance by Brock. So we'll see a furthering of the Brock Braun Kane. And considering both guys were built to look strong this past Raw, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe they'll strike back at Brock this week.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah. Maybe it's a situation where they both have to take Brock down.
Yeah, they have to make plans.
Yeah,
tactical team.
With new brothers of destruction, but it's Braun and Kane, and they come out on a motorcycle together.
And it's Bad Boys 3, the movie.
Ooh.
With that said, quick shout out to our sponsors, Hershey's Gold.
Ooh.
It's the only Hershey's that you can go to the bank and give them, and they'll give you real gold back.
Oh.
Or you can do what I did. You can eat it.
You can eat it, or you can try to go to the bank and get some money for it, but they're going to tell you to fucking leave.
Your worth has been upped because now you have gold inside of you.
They're going to tell you to get the fuck out of my bank, please.
SmackDown the next night was fine. It was better than Raw, I'd say. It was good even.
Yeah, a lot better. Just for me, at least, a lot better.
Daniel Bryan walks out to open the show, recaps the clip of Ziggler from last week that no one truly understood and most people had hot takes about. But it turns out that the angle is, or maybe the apparent reality, I guess we'll come to see in the next couple weeks, but it seems like an angle right now that Dolph Ziggler, quote-unquote, walked out, isn't responding to anyone, and because of that, he's voluntarily relinquished the U.S. title. This leads to Daniel announcing a new tournament to crown the next champion. And I had heard about this angle and heard that they're even maybe keeping Dolph off TV for a month or so to sell it. Fair to assume that, not even fair, but just maybe possible in assuming that whoever wins this tournament is going to face a returning Dolph of maybe a new belt, considering now that we see the old belt is whoever wins this tournament gets the U.S. title. Maybe that happens at Mania to determine the real champion. They've done things like that before. Again, maybe Dolph is just gone, or maybe he just comes back with a whole new whatever, and this is just a new champion thing.
It's probably the best possible. I don't know, after sitting on it for a little longer, this is probably the best angle I guess they could have picked out of the possibilities of what was going on.
I don't know if what they did with Dolph is what they should have done or what they should do
with
in general,
him. Maybe not, but what they're doing moving forward, I guess. Is
the
tournament for the best.
Any kind of title tournament is generally always good news.
Yeah.
So, no complaints here. First match and only a match announced at the time. We now have the full bracket, which apparently we've get to later, but we come to know that some of the people involved also didn't know the bracket. But at the time, only one match is announced. It's Bobby Roode's Baron Corbin. That's happening tonight. At that moment, Gable and Benjamin come out and they want a fair shot at the tag titles. As soon as they're mentioning all the people they've beaten, as soon as they mention Rusev in English, the energy of the crowd is just entirely different. I got goosebumps myself. I just think that we should keep that going. Rusev Day stuff is awesome.
Forever.
But Gable and Benjamin go on to make a legitimate point that they've pinned the tag champs just last week, and they know they can beat them. Then Rusev Day interrupts. I have actual goosebumps. Rusev's head shaking thing is fantastic. And then Aiden sings a legitimate point himself that not only did his team not lose at the pay-per-view, but they also beat the tag champs 2 weeks ago as well on SmackDown. Then they were interrupted by the New Day, and Big E awesomely called Shelton Benjamin old Jason Jordan, which only that team probably could have got away with.
Oh, yeah. That's
and then he also, it was awesome though, and then he
Oh, it
also
was
went
great.
on to make legitimate points on how they beat Gable and Benjamin at the pay-per-view, and they beat Rusev Day last week. So Daniel Bryan is doing the hip stuff with the New Day, and that was uncomfortable and amazing at the same time.
Very weird.
Rusev Day chants throughout the segment, and that was really, really good. And then Rusev goes on to call Shane Daniel Bryan's mommy, and that was uncomfortable and funny. And this whole thing, and the reason it's put like a list, because there's a lot of talking like there normally is to open up a WWE show. It's Daniel Bryan telling them that they can have a triple threat tag match tonight to determine the new number one contender, and that's right now. So, a bit surprising, felt a bit redundant in that the Usos came out to be a commentary as well. At the same time, not going to complain because, but it's a good tag division, so at least it's, good
I did
stuff.
like that, especially after that, you kind of realize that everyone has beaten everyone, so no one really is, like, above. You know what I mean? They really, they leveled the playing field with all of them. None of them are,
which
too high.
Normally is my direct complaint with WWE. Their 50-50 booking is bad, but in this case, it's working out well, so the match itself is pretty good. They come back from the first commercial, and know they fucked up because they're showing a slow-motion replay of what Gable did during the break, which was a double German suplex to Big E and Aiden English at the same time. Big E and Aiden English at the same time. Yeah, fucking crazy. Chad Gable's so strong and athletic and just great. I love seeing Shelton Benjamin back. With him is awesome. If he goes on to do his own thing, I think that's a good idea, too. The match had a bunch of awesome spots, even though it's stuff we've seen. It was all good. The double accolade was good. Rusev went on to call it the Stackalade on Twitter. And when Big E hit the big spear, the match really, really started to feel, I don't know, like one of their more pay-per-view matches. So I just thought it was cool.
I thought all of them right now, all of them are on fire. Every team was looking good. I was really stoked on the Stackalade. I don't know why. I'm really excited with that.
Well, Gable and Benjamin look really strong, winning 2 weeks in a row with that same brand new finish, and it's an awesome finish, so it's great. I love that Rusev Day didn't have to do the job, because that's definitely what I thought they were there to do when the match started. And like I said earlier, even though it was a lot of stuff we've seen before, I just really like the match. So great way to start the show. Then we go to Daniel Bryan backstage, and Shane walks in. They do a little bit of Christmas talking. They talk gifts.
Jingles.
Talking meals, talking fat men crawling into your home and leaving your family things that you didn't earn.
Eating your cookies.
Taking your milk. About it. They're talking about it, actually. And then Shane comes around to mention that Daniel Bryan saying he was turning to his father has been on his mind. He can't stop thinking about it. He randomly comes around to say that he has to give Vince credit for making sports entertainment what it is today. And then Daniel Bryan comes back with mentioning that a couple other things that Vince accomplished, and it just seemed weird as far as the writing of it goes. I could be looking into it too much, because they're not even lying about anything they're saying, but just why focus on Vince if he's not directly involved in the storyline?
And definitely not going to be there probably anytime soon. I mean, who knows, but realistically, he's probably having nothing to do with this, so why drag the man in?
Well, this leads to Daniel Bryan saying that Shane has thrown his weight around. Shane responds to that with saying that looking at what's happened tonight, people might be right in what they've been saying lately, in that Owens and Zayn are being favored by Bryan. And he's saying this because the main event of the match, or of the show, is a match between AJ Styles and Kevin Owens. And Sami Zayn hasn't been barred from ringside, which obviously Shane McMahon would have done. And he says that, plus the announcement of the U.S. title tournament without his consent or whatever is just upsetting in itself, or just as much of him throwing his weight around or whatever. Daniel goes on to say that it's better to give more superstars opportunities than just one, and I think that was all good writing in the dialogue, just like the week before the promo's getting good, and then Shane says okay and kind of just sweeps it out, cuts itself out from it. What am I trying to say? Pulls the rug out from underneath it or whatever. And again, I think, just like I said the week before, I think it's just obviously building, and they're doing that on purpose. Yeah. But it's definitely getting more interesting.
You can tell now that they're just doing this. Like, at first it was like I felt like they were cutting me short, like I wasn't getting what I was supposed to be getting. And then the second time you're like, oh, okay. And then by now
they're doing that on purpose.
You're obviously doing this to keep building, and it's just in a very direct way that makes me feel like I'm not getting everything that I want.
Right.
And ultimately is they got me. They hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. Whatever. Well, hopefully it's gonna be good. Whatever they're getting at. It seems like
I
it's
can
gonna
only
be good.
hope.
That leads to or goes into Breezango and Bludgeon Brothers. Apparently a redemption match. I just got a new sound system for Christmas, so maybe that's just the only reason why. But I really hated being able to notice that they literally just mashed up Tyler Breeze and Fandango's songs, and that they sound like they're in different keys. It just sounds terrible.
Yeah, they didn't think that one through at all.
Fashion Files has officially moved to WWE.com. I'm not saying it's a good or bad thing. I just am saying that that's something that happened.
I feel like it's a good thing only because I'm starting to see them in the ring more, and I do want to see them in the ring more. I love them as a team. They're great.
Well, obviously, we know Bludgeon Brothers, or at least we assume, obviously, Bludgeon Brothers are going to win.
Oh, yeah.
Is what it is. I'm still not as angry at this gimmick as you are. I like that. I
wouldn't say angry. I'm not big on it.
I don't love it. I don't even like it, but I like seeing Luke Harper in actual wrestling gear. I like him so much. I like to see him doing anything. So
I just kind of feel like he gets cheated out of all this.
I don't know about that, pal. He's winning weeks.
He is, but I feel like he gets held down by the rest of his gimmicks and team.
I don't think he should be with. I haven't thought he should be with Harper before, but I don't have a problem with him being with Harper right now.
Yeah.
Breezango comes in strong the first few seconds, and literally only the first few seconds. Then Harper hits his classic spin out side slam thing, and it was pretty much all seemingly going to be the same old shit from there. But then the finish winds up being different in that the Ascension comes in, looks to make the save. I made a note before that I like that Bludgeon Brothers are being consistently booked to look strong. I like their signature move way more. It's like the full Nelson assisted sit out powerbomb, way cooler than their actual finish, which again, just like the gimmick overall, I have way less of a problem with the actual finish than you do, but I definitely don't like the actual finish compared to that move. I think that
the finish is, but that signature just should be the finish. It's way cooler. It involves just both of them more. It just looks a whole lot better. It's way more convincing.
Looks more physical. However, I did like that Harper pulled Tyler Breeze's head up out of the pin. Just thought it was good heel booking. That led to, like I said before, Ascension interfering, literally just shoulder tackling, but like touching. The Bludgeon Brothers, which at the time I thought was really strange, but coming back from commercial, it appeared that the segment wasn't over, and they wound up doing a little video thing backstage where the Ascension made a challenge again to the Bludgeon Brothers for Breezango's sake, or on Breezango's behalf. And that made more sense that the ring stuff was so brief because it was trying to squeeze all that in. So, it's what it is. I'm, again, happy to see everyone involved working. I like the Ascension. I like Breezango. I like Luke Harper.
Sitting on it more, the only thing I really I would pick at it is you have like a comedy side going with something that shouldn't really be.
Yeah, but it's time to unturn the comedy a little
bit.
Yeah.
If that's the plan, then awesome, cool. But you have like,
which I think it is.
The comedy side going against like what should be the really serious side to them, as in the Bludgeon Brothers. Hopefully, it kind of meshes and gets away from we only do skits, because both teams are good. Like they shouldn't be doing just nothing but skits.
Yeah, and even if they come out in a losing effort in whatever this feud or whatever is, I think Breezango needs to start getting taken more seriously. Even if they're jokey,
they would fit in so well with the main teams right now and the tag, race, if you will. Like you could easily replace anyone with
exactly.
them,
they need to tread the comedy line more like the New Day and Rusev Day do. So we move on to Women's Rumble recap video announcement thing again, which I get it. SmackDown is its own entity, so they have to announce it there or recap it there. But it's just like, holy shit.
Yeah, you're watching 2 days in a row. If you're watching Raw and SmackDown, you're getting a lot of.
And that's just the way it used to always feel on SmackDown. So I just think you need to stay away from that. Maybe even have 2 different video packages.
Or just approach it in a different way. Or
change
do your
the color
own thing
of the video package.
Yeah.
Make it blue.
So you feel like you're watching something
raw
different.
Stuff. Yeah. So, anyways, that leads to Ruby Riott versus Naomi. Really cool promo by Ruby as she's making her entrance with the Riott Squad behind her. She calls the Royal Rumble the Royal Riot, saying the Royal Rumble is basically equivalent to a riot, and says the glow has got to go tonight. Just a really good WWE promo and good promo overall, but especially for someone who's probably, cooler than WWE lets her be. I just thought that was a good job on her or the writing behalf, whatever. I like her. I think she's going to do well. And this match started out like a Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn match, and that they just walked up to each other and started punching each other in the head, and that was really awesome. Really gave Naomi a brief chance to be more aggressive, and I think she she can still remain the babyface she is and be way more physically aggressive than she is.
That's what I think
Ruby,
I've always wanted from her is a
yeah,
little
I
more
think
aggressiveness.
Ruby can probably bring that out in her, and other girls too. But Ruby is the right kind of character opposing Naomi. So this match was brief because Naomi took out the two girls, the other two girls from the Riot Squad, interfering on the apron, and then Ruby hit her in the leg with a cheap shot, which led to the, what is it called, the Riot Kick? Is that what they call it? Yes, Riot Kick. And I like that. Basically like an Insiguri type thing. Pretty cool. Length of the match, or lack thereof, was made up for by the storytelling it's clearly doing. Then Charlotte's music hit. She came down and beat ass, at least at first, until Sarah Logan, go figure, comes in and actually hits a pretty awesome boot of her own. Like I said before, though, I don't have any real problem with her in the ring or anything. Thought she had a really bad match, that one tag match, but otherwise, I just think writing-wise, she should be getting given better stuff.
Yeah.
Better stuff than she is. So, Riot Squad takes out Charlotte because of the numbers game. All the other ladies, all four of them, because Becky is now officially back, but wasn't for this TV, isn't there. So there's just not that many people. It's Lana, Tamina, Carmella, and Natalya.
Yeah. Which...
And if...
That's kind of weird.
Yeah, it is weird.
Just from the last TV, or more so, her little, thing, just to that, it just feels like they kind of just.
But be honest, it's better. It's better than them investing in a Natalya Riot Squad allegiance.
No,
so.
Absolutely. I just more so mean like how she kind of just had
That's
a little
what they
breakdown,
do, but that's what they do.
And then like, hey, don't forget about that. We're doing this now, and I'm like,
yep, that's what they do, and they're like, never mind, we're moving on. Whatever that was going to be, we don't want to anymore, or if it was going to be anything.
Yeah.
But anyways, Riot Squad girls get backed out at first, or really they walk out because they see they're outnumbered. Brief cool moment where the girls in the ring get the Riot Squad girls anyways at the bottom of the entrance ramp, but just didn't see that coming, so I thought that was kind of cool. Then the Riot Squad girls get away anyways. Good short little thing. Like I said, just would have been better with the Women's Rumble recap, either being more SmackDown-esque or just a different package entirely. Isn't the worst idea in my opinion. Cut to AJ giving a pretty cool, basic but really cool promo in the back. He says he's staying neutral and doesn't care if anyone is getting favoritism from Daniel Bryan or anyone else because he's the champ. And going into the new year, SmackDown Live is going to stay the house that AJ Styles built.
That's right.
He started the year as WWE champion, is ending it that way too. Really cool. Didn't realize that, just because obviously it wasn't booked that way with Jinder's run all year, and even in Mania he wasn't champion anymore. He faced Shane. It was
what's cool.
Bray, right?
Noticed, yeah.
Bray was WWE champion. Yeah.
What's cool is I noticed it's the same thing that Alexa did, but you don't feel.
But it's because it's literally a totally different story.
Yeah,
like
you know what I mean.
Alexa's been booked all year to be a strong champion, whatever show she's on. AJ had the title and was losing it this time last year, whereas he just regained. That's
what I was saying. Like it kind of, it's really cool that you have very similar things.
Yeah, the delivery also, regardless of the
yeah.
specifics of the content, the delivery was just totally different. But I know what you mean. I thought that myself. He makes a point to say when he steps in the ring that he's always the favorite and his opponents are always the underdogs. Thought that was cool. Again, basic stuff, but just cool. I guess he's just very good at doing that. Not specific to this promo, but just kind of the whole night. I don't think the U.S. title feud should be between him and Kevin Owens from the summer should be referenced. Owens has been pretty public about it being lackluster in his opinion. I agree that it dragged on. I remember you being sick of it. Mm-hmm. And yeah, just I think moving on from the show, they shouldn't mention it as much as they did.
There's no reason to, really. I mean, and if it is very short, brief, nothing major, nothing detailed, just let it be. It wasn't anything to really talk about, so you don't need to.
But it was cool foreshadowing, or not even foreshadowing, but just like Raw, kind of good production for later in the night, which again WWE television in general for the last couple of years has lacked. It seems like they lack at least it seems only. Obviously, I know they know what they're doing, but it seems like sometimes they don't in terms of the whole night going in. So these kind of things show that they at least have a plan an hour from where we are at the TV or in the TV at that moment. And yeah, I liked it for that reason and because AJ's the man. We go into Bobby and Baron Corbin for the U.S. title tournament, first round. Really like the pre-match screen production stuff, the first round coming up on the screen and all that.
Oh, yeah. I did like that.
I like that they start using the spinning podium thing for Bobby again. You said again, I don't know if that I saw it in NXT. I just know it's in the video game.
I'm pretty sure they used it in NXT, and then they stopped on his debut.
I'm sure you're right. I just don't remember.
I could be wrong.
But either way, I know they're using it now because of the video game, and I think that's cool. I like when they show that they're paying attention to stuff.
Absolutely.
So, Still don't like or hate boring Corbin. Love his move. Loved his old entrance. Still like his current entrance. I think I'm just a sucker for whenever they show that they've given some kind of effort to someone having an entrance. I think Ryback's been the only exception to that for me.
Yeah.
Because I hated him anyways. This
In
match
all
had
the
a lot
ways.
of... This match had a lot of headlocks, out of the ring escape type stuff. Like the physical barricade stuff and the trio woe on the ring ropes by Corbin to
I did like
Rude
that.
was cool. The punch was lackluster at the end, but it was just cool idea. And he's a boxer, so I guess it makes sense.
Yeah, that would make sense for someone like him to do stuff like that.
Just didn't. The punch didn't sound. I guess
No.
he could have slapped his old leg a little harder.
that
but whatever.
big old leg, you could just give it a little pop.
I think more people assumed than not that Corbin would have advanced in this. So, it started to come off as one of his better matches when the crowd started to be more invested because they actually started thinking like, oh, maybe Bobby's gonna win.
Yeah.
So I felt like that was an attitude change.
And just in general, he has been progressing, and there's starting to be time now where I'm not as angry when he's in the ring.
Yeah, I mean, you only get better when you're working with people that are better than you. So
this is Bobby. He's up there.
Well, Bobby made the deep six false finish look great because he had a really awesome late kick out.
Yeah.
And I liked him winning with just a roll up. I just like when any wrestling match ends like that. Not all of them should, and not most even, but I like when they do.
When it's done right and not so like too quick and fake looking. It's such a good.
Well, in this case, it continues Baron Corbin's quote unquote bad luck streak, and then Rude just gets to advance. So I don't really care how he did it.
Yeah, he gets to move on, and Baron gets to keep that like sourness to himself, and take that elsewhere, wherever you want to take it. You can go face whoever you want and take that sour else.
I like that this was followed immediately by the second U.S. title tournament match, which in a way I kind of feel like they might have made up after Daniel Bryan announced the stuff in the beginning of the night.
Just picked a few guys.
It's Jinder versus Ty Dillinger. Singh brothers are sticking with Jinder, I guess. He was just pissed at one time, and we're just moving on.
I don't understand that. Why he got to beat them up
But
so many times.
But then he went to India with them, and they were cool, and they came back since and said they were only plotting. So they've explained it. It's just interesting moving forward. They're not doing anything different. I thought, I don't know what I thought, but whatever. Doesn't matter. Really cool promo by Ty again on the video. I say keep that up and keep it a different thing. I know they do it on Raw, but I say do it more on SmackDown. In general, set apart the two shows even more than you already have, aside from the ring setup or the
it would only
entrance
benefit
ramp and all that.
Each show, like it just what I mean.
Be a reason to watch each one. So I like that they did that. And again, his promo itself was just good. Said the only number that matters tonight is 10. After making a bunch of other number references, I don't really care to remember right now. Obviously, knew Jinder was winning this one, but I liked how physical he was, building to Dillinger's
after
comeback.
Bobby winning, I was kind of on the fence because I was like, well, I mean, if Bobby can win, Ty can win. But
Jinder Mahal is not a loser.
Yeah, I know.
In the first round to Ty Dillinger. So, nonetheless, his comeback was great. His kicks and stomps were really great. Great enough that he busted Jinder's lip. At least it looked like that's what caused that.
Wow.
The double knee gut buster by Jinder Mahal was really clean and really good.
Yeah, he's getting cleaner. Like
he's an established. He's you know what? Whether we want to call it a failure or an experiment, whatever, he's an established heel now, and he can go. He can go maybe even to the other show and challenge other people and whatever. So good for him.
He's getting cleaner, and I'm that's what I want out of him, especially like his finish. He messes that thing up a lot, and
definitely.
I just want more clean
having
wrestling.
better matches. Yeah, better matches from
which
him.
He's doing.
He's already he's on track too. So hopefully he keeps it up. Short match, not too short. Dillinger looked competitive enough in my opinion, so I liked it. And Mahal looks better in this title picture in general. It makes more sense. It fits him. He's a
I prefer him to be in this type of picture because I'll actually watch and enjoy it.
It can probably help build him back to the world title one day. If that's ever a thing they do. And I'm not suggesting they do anytime soon, but I'm just saying that's the way that you get those kind of guys there. So him and Rude could make a good final. Don't think it'll be them, but that would be interesting. Wound up seeing that the bracket included Zack Ryder versus Mojo Rawley. And interestingly enough, Xavier Woods against... Who's he wrestling?
What was it? It was something.
Aiden English.
Yeah. And kind of that second part of the bracket, I'm a little more excited for. Like, I'd much rather see that.
Well, hopefully Zach.
I honestly, if
won't.
you really want me to pick, I would love to see Zach again.
I'd at least love to see him in the finals.
Yeah.
Because I think that who knows? Well, we won't spend too much time. So that'll
watch the man win the Intercontinental title in such a way.
Yeah, but I think the next night he lost it.
Hey, man, he won then.
But we'll see though. And
He
Xavier
could
Woods,
win and lose it to Zig.
what I hinted at earlier, Xavier Woods posted on Twitter him shouting.
That was
through in a
actually
rental car
hilarious.
with New Day. It was so funny. Whoa, I'm in the U.S. title brackets and I didn't even know.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
Chanting U.S. champ over and over again, so that's good. We cut to Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens backstage with a bottle of champagne. Turns out they make a point to say it's the bottle Daniel Bryan refused to take from them last week. Owens says the only reason AJ beat him in their previous feud, which again I'm like, don't mention it. But he says it was because Shane was the guest ref, and that it's going to be different this time. He's going to prove tonight, and they're going to have a private party when he beats AJ, and nobody in Chicago's invited. The yep stuff is awesomely placed throughout this promo by Sammy, and he's just killing as a whole. His facial expressions are insanely
he's
just like interesting.
I don't know if
these
it's
two together are
being with
awesome.
Kevin, because I know to me and watching Kevin for so long, he is the ultimate just heel. Like,
but
he is so good
Zayn
at this.
is not only matching him, he's like kind of outdoing him.
Yeah,
sometimes.
he is, and that's what I'm saying. I don't know if
Oh,
it's just because he's been with him for so long that he's absorbed this awesome power, or if he's just that good as well. But they're so good together.
A big part of it is the newness to it. This has never been done for Sami Zayn, and he's doing such a good job at it that it's exciting.
And
so,
you've heard some, most say that, not that any of this is easy, or I know any of that, but a lot of them say being heel is a little easier.
No, it's more fun.
Yeah,
it's more
yeah,
fun.
you get to do more, and especially for someone like him who was masked forever and then a super face.
But even then, always a face.
Yeah,
just face.
All the way through. Like, this is such a big, cool, different change for him. I'm sure he's having a blast.
So we go to Randy with Renee. Just a really brief promo. Basically, Randy is inserting himself in the Rumble. Nakamura creepily walks up and says, "Good idea, let's Rumble." But whatever. They're both in it. Probably the biggest stars on the show in the brand, other than maybe AJ and Kevin. And now they're in that match, which AJ and Kevin obviously, or at least more assumably, obviously won't be in. So probably the two biggest stars in that match on the SmackDown side. And I had heard recently reported that Randy Orton will be taking a good amount of time off of TV in January, and then a good amount of time off of WWE in general between the Rumble and Mania. Maybe even, I didn't hear there was reported he would be missing Mania, but it's just not necessarily been reported that he'll be back in time for Mania. So we'll have to see how that goes.
So he could really not be involved with much of any of this.
I mean, he was pretty open on the Edge and Christian podcast about he's tired and he wants to get close to retiring. So, I don't know.
Which sucks.
I think it's fine. No, it doesn't suck.
You're
late to the party.
I'm late to the party.
You suck. Yeah.
I'm not late. He just needed to not be who I was watching.
Yeah, I think most Randy Orton fans, myself included, would disagree. We get to the main event. AJ, Kevin, obviously it's great. My notes here are less extensive because I was just zoned in on the match. Also began to double up at 205 at this point to get all my review stuff in. Zayn was really great ringside. Loved him arguing with the crowd. And I just love this year being most reflective of it, but AJ in general making all of his opponents look really physical. I feel like Owens in specific right now needs that because all of his other traits are really well rounded out, and the physicality, which he came in really hot into NXT and WWE with, has not been so present lately. So it was good to see him look like a tough guy in this match. All his strikes were really physical. Match had a back body drop.
They had a lot, you know what I mean? Like with the lack of in that first feud.
It was more. This one match was better than most of their matches in the U.S.
If not all of them, yeah.
Not all of them. Not the Madison Square.
Well, that one was a big one. But I just the energy of it, and especially having Sammy there, it made it a whole lot cooler.
Yeah, it was definitely other than the Madison Square Garden match that I was there for. It was my favorite time watching WWE's Kevin Owens, AJ Styles interaction. I don't even think they have elsewhere, but I'm just making it clear that style and everything. Yeah. This match was a very good WWE SmackDown main event. All of Owens' strikes were physical, as I said. That's what I was getting at. The back body drop, I really loved. AJ clearly is just into letting guys do that, maybe because he's a little older. They used to be in the late 90s, early 2000s matches. It was like a standard in the beginning of the match.
Yeah, it was like a must.
Now, just like they do in every match, you drop down and jump skip over and run past and all that.
Yeah.
Or pass by or whatever. They used to include the back body drop in that. I just like seeing AJ do it. He's so good at it. Facebuster by AJ to Owens was really good. Same with the second rope moonsault where he landed on his feet, and then Owens clotheslined him into another flip, which even though it's obviously made to look as him trying to be offensive and then being unsuccessfully defensive, it's just a credit to his athleticism overall. Because the man is doing a flip, landing, and then doing a different kind of
can't even do
joint
one flip.
Yeah, he's
any
out of this
direction.
world. Both these guys are just so good. I wrote that so many times in my notes. I have to skip over it as I'm reading them here. Match is doing a really good job, or did a really good job, I should say, sorry, making Owens look really desperate and strong at the same time. It's a rare thing to do. I feel like it's both the magic of AJ Styles and the specific talent of Kevin Owens, especially as a heel. When he went for the cannonball and ran into that great knee thing that I'm failing to remember the Japanese name of right now, that AJ does, it was awesome. And Owens' awesome reversal out of that forearm into the gutbuster that led to the second rope flapjack elbow thing that they showed slow motion replay of. That was very cool, very actually innovative. Kevin Owens just looked really good in this match.
Yeah, this was their creativity really popped in this match. I think they kind of just went wild. They were like, do your thing, and they let him.
you know when they let AJ hit that spinning torture rack powerbomb thing.
Yeah.
You generally know it's like one of those, wow, he's really wrestling match, and that's what it looked like. So
it's when you know my man's on.
Looked even cooler because Owens is a big guy, so I liked that move in specific. AJ going for the crossbody outside, hits Sami Zayn. This leads to Zayn distracting AJ when he's on the apron, setting up for the forearm. Owens hits an awesome super kick, takes his chin right off his face. Near fall. Shane comes out, throws Sami Zayn out, but they only get to the ramp because, interesting enough, at that point, AJ rolls Owens up. Ref is distracted by the activity on the entrance ramp. And at this point, Owens rolls AJ up in time for the ref to turn around and count the 3. Owens rolls out and flops on the announcer's table, celebrating. Can't believe he beat AJ. Zayn runs down past Shane. It's just a really good effort on both guys. They were just awesome closing the show as heels. They do the yep chant.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome match. Good creative finish. And then AJ is now even pissed at Shane walking out. And it cuts back to Owens literally bouncing on the bottom rope to close out the show.
This is one of those finishes where if you are one of those people who you're just I hate Kevin Owens type person, you are just so fuming right now.
Which is great.
Yeah,
being great. Which most people don't, but still.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. I remember
awesome
I had those feelings
right
watching Orton win. That's how I felt. I'm watching this guy win, and I'm just so upset.
I gave the show. Yeah, no, right. It was he was obnoxious. I gave the show about an 8 out of 10. Thought it was a great show.
That's absolutely fair.
And then 205. And just for the record, quick review before we're getting to the end of this here. Raw took about 40 minutes. SmackDown took about half that time.
Yeah.
Took about 25 minutes.
So that's
in terms
that.
Of the review. That's worth pointing out. It's a lot of time. And that's the Hulu Raw. That's me mentioning the mini stuff.
Yeah, because there was things that you definitely could have gotten a whole lot deeper.
So 205 show opens up with Cedric, locker room with Gulak, trying to convince him to leave the Zo train. I thought that was interesting. I like the promo work on 205. Everyone's pretty good.
I liked
Gulak
it.
Is awesome.
They're starting to use them more in that drama, soap opera, setup. Whereas they didn't before. They didn't do that many promos. They didn't really let people do too much besides the bigger guys.
I don't know that they had. Yeah, I don't know that they had the guys to do it. We're talking specific to 205 Live, though. I'm saying I think their promo stuff has been good as of late. This goes to Hideo Itami and Jack Gallagher. They have a good match. Jack comes out with a pretty basic short heel promo on Chicago. This is to avenge Kendrick's broken face. Itami picks up the win, like I said earlier. Definitely leading us to believe it was just simply an accident. Kendrick seems like the kind of guy, too, who would say not only what it was, but more than anything, more times than not, be like, oh, it's all good. It's wrestling. It is what it is. It happened. The match was pretty good between those two. Jack Gallagher is awesome, and obviously I love Hideo Itami. So GTS for the win again. Good stuff. Do you have anything on that match? Did you think anything specific?
Was it a GTS to win?
No, it wasn't.
It was submission.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. But they showed the replay, not slow motion. They showed the replay of Kendrick.
They focused more on the GTS and they did the submission.
Because like I said, that was the story of the match.
I think the Kendrick thing was the thing that they're focusing on.
What was the submission? That was an armbar type
no,
thing?
it was... I can't honestly. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it wasn't.
I was doubled up at this point in SmackDown.
It wasn't like a very like normal, everyday submission. It was.
Yeah, maybe he choked him out. I'll look it up later. We'll talk about it. We'll address it on the Saturday show. But nonetheless, I just saw he got the win. It was a good match from what I did watch of it.
That's good because that was my one note was that he got a submission win, and it felt a little different, which made me like the match even more because most of the time it's a hit the finisher, pin 1, 2, 3,
Well, not only specific to Jack Gallagher, but specific to that show and the brand of the cruiserweights, they should be having more of those kinds of finishes.
Absolutely.
Which is why people were saying Dolph Ziggler could have went and succeeded there, probably with his old headlock finish he used to do, or sleeper hold finish he used to do. But we go to Tony Nese backstage confirming that he personally is still all aboard the Zoe train because it's made him a bigger star with more money. But he's torn because he wants to kill the guys that killed him, basically. This ends with Akira Tozawa appearing and asking him if he's on or off the train. And then Nese slaps the shit out of him, knocks him to the ground.
Yeah, he gives it to him.
And this is because we're coming back from commercial to them having a match, which is obviously like somewhat obvious, but at the same time, you never knew if it was going to be something that progressed next week. So when it came back, I don't know. I hate Tony Nese's entrance, and I like him in the ring, but I don't care for him really otherwise. I just don't think he's very developed, and I don't care for him counting his abs each week, and not in a heel heat type way. I think that it's just lame.
Yeah, it's really not like a thing. I don't mind it that much, but
it makes him look like he doesn't have anything better to say or like any other intelligent way to work a crowd. That's just the way I feel about it. He's a good wrestler though, and that's important. That's worth pointing out. This match was good. I like Tozawa a lot. It wasn't his best match, but it's good. Whatever match, really overall, but good in-ring stuff.
It wasn't very.
It was pretty clear Tozawa was there to take the punishment from Nese because, like they showed in the promo before, he's all pissed off about whatever. Crowd is so dead. Tozawa tries to get him on his side for the comeback, and he hits an awesome suicide dive, but only like a third of all those people there gives a shit. Some sloppy reversal stuff again. Other than that, in-ring stuff is all clean, but just not super interesting. Running Nese in the corner to get Tony the win. I know I'm right about that one. I was fully on 205 at this point. Whatever I wrote. It's just literally whatever. Not good, not bad, just very whatever. Enzo is not going to be on the show because he's defending his title at Madison Square Garden. This then leads to more Raw recap stuff of Nia and Enzo, which I skipped over earlier on purpose because it was funny, but I knew we were going to talk about it here, and I didn't want to talk about it before. It was a clip of Enzo and Nia kissing under mistletoe and Alexa, about to kiss under mistletoe and Alexa popping up last minute. And it's funny, but whatever. Again, like, especially it's Monday Night Raw. Assume your audience watches the main show, I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
Gulak's coming out with Daivari. Turns out it's a tag match. I didn't realize that was our main event. Could have been because I wasn't paying attention fully to the show, but it just felt like Tony Nese and Tozawa, which was a whatever match, got way more pre-match production that I've been crediting, for the record, all these other WWE shows for the week. Yeah, this week of WWE
main
television
match got the least amount of,
which closes their whole Tuesday night's work. Yeah, because SmackDown's over. You know what I mean? It's the end of the night. But with that said, it's a good book match. It's Gulak and Daivari versus Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali. Really cool to know that Ali's wrestling his hometown in Chicago, and it's either his younger sister, I believe it's his daughter, but I just don't want to say that and be wrong. He wrestled in front of somebody, he wrestled in front of family, he posted about it online. I always think it's very cool. I think it's one of the cooler things about wrestling, just that kind of sentimental stuff. So good for him, and good for the crowd being a little less dead in this match, being that maybe they knew it was the end. I don't know. Ali's spinning dive to the outside was really good. And I like seeing Gulak get used. I hope moving on from the Zoe Train stuff come post-Mania, he'll be developed to be stand on his own legs, because promo-wise he certainly can, and in-ring-wise he's fucking awesome.
His and Cedric's chemistry, if whatever happens, they work well. I like seeing their.
Yeah, all these guys are really good, and I'd say Daivari out of the four of them is probably the least special, but that's not to say he's not good. Yeah, but the other three guys
are just that good.
Mustafa's very special, I think.
Oh yeah.
Cedric Alexander is obviously.
I think if Cedric got more of a character, he could really pop.
He has the best finisher in WWE.
Absolutely.
The lumbar support or lumbar check or whatever.
Lumbar check, I believe.
Lumbar check. Yeah, lumbar check is my favorite move in WWE right now. And then Gulak I just like. He's just my kind of guy, my kind of character.
Gulak's one of those guys who I wish, obviously I don't want to rush progression, but he could easily be one of those guys, doing stuff
He could hold mid-card title. I'd care about the U.S. title if that guy held it.
Yeah. Or just more so,
he should feud with Rusev.
That's what I'm saying.
PowerPoint
He
versus
could.
Rusev Day.
I was literally just trying to say that. Like, he and Rusev could probably have great banter back and forth, like the Rusev Day thing and the PowerPoint thing. It would just work. I would watch it. I would be sold. He's just that good.
But yeah, that's been this episode. We're awesomely got it. We got to be cutting a Joe song in the next couple seconds.
It's the greatest song you've ever laid ears upon.
Thanks for listening. Subscribe, I guess, if you want to, if you're on YouTube, and
You can do
download because you can on SoundCloud, so you're not wasting your precious data.
Pick one,
on
just
us.
one of them. You don't have to do both. If you want to do both, you can do that, I guess.
Don't ever do both.
Do both at the same time. Layer it.
But that's just about it. Joe's going to take us home, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh.
I'm in the Joe Zone lair. I'll be back here tomorrow for our weekend show.
And I am not in the Joe Zone layer again.
And it's a blessing and a curse on both ends. But all right, have a good night, everyone. Talk to you tomorrow.
Take it easy.